Discord. And today is just an open roundtable discussion of whatever you have on mind that you want to get the group's thoughts on and try to help solve some problems, borrow ideas from each other that we can use in our own libraries, because the better we make each of our libraries, the better it works for everybody. We're not in competition, we're in collaboration with each other. So I'll open the floor up if anyone's got any questions, thoughts, concerns. Okay, I'll start with the first question. Now that kids are able to be vaccinated, yay, got their first shot yesterday. Has that changed how you're doing programming for youth? Because currently at Southfield, we are doing virtual or outside programming only for kids. And now we're trying to figure out what's, we're going to do come the new year, because by then kids 5 and up could potentially be vaccinated if they wanted to be. Have you guys changed any of your policies regarding that?
Bloomfield Township, we are continuing doing virtual. We are moving, we are going to have in December, January, and February a weekly outdoor story time, with like one session being 3 weeks in December and 4 in January and February. We have 2 outdoor heaters, and our maintenance crew is going to be cleaning off if there's any snow, but of course it's going to be canceled if the weather is inclement. We haven't decided what that means yet or what the temperature has to be.
That's cool. I like that you're using the restaurant idea with the heaters outside. And Katie Rockley chimed in that at Northville, they're still doing only outside or virtual programs for the kids. A couple more people to admit. And Tracy's chiming in that they've had a few times inside and that they will be having an indoor holiday program in December. And Nicole said their library is loosely planning to go back in person for kids in late January or in February. And Katie's saying that in Northville, they're waiting for their numbers to decrease before they do anything indoors, and it's all contingent upon their local numbers, which does make sense.
Roseville has moved back toward mostly in-person programming because our Zoom attendance has kind of dropped off to people just don't seem to be interested in virtual programming anymore. Mm-hmm. So we're attempting to do it, at least certain things.
Plymouth is doing a combination of both right now. We've got some that are virtual, some that are hybrid, and some that are only in person. And we just this week put out a survey to our patronage to ask their input for the decision regarding youth programs.
Okay. That's a good idea to poll your community. Has anyone else done that or haven't got to that point yet?
I think I mentioned this on the last meeting, but we've been doing in-person and virtual. What usually decides it for us is if it's a rather static program, i.e. a lecture or maybe a book club, that it it's still interesting, but it doesn't really have the dynamism of music or whatever, a magician or what have you. That we keep it on Zoom then, because that's a very casual from your couch situation. But we've been doing the flashier stuff in person and capping attendance at about 30. But it's been really, really positive. Really, everyone just shows up in a mask anyway. And there's been enthusiasm for in person.
That's good. I say Mary said from Bay County that they're starting their in-person programming for school age kids in February, and then they're going to do a survey for the younger kids that can't get vaccinated in March.
What area was that? What library?
Bay County.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if this is, this might even be library gossip, but my youth department is not only just trying to be sensitive to parent comfort levels, but even their own personal comfort levels that they as staff, as human beings.
Oh, yeah, I think you have to take it to the staff comfort level
Of course.
completely,
Yeah.
because, if you're not comfortable putting on the program, how can, you put on a good program?
Right. And I think that they're intuiting that whether it's there or not, maybe it's imagined, but that there could be pressure that youth librarians start doing stuff, whether they're ready to or not, because the parents really want to. I don't know if it's there or not. I don't know if any other libraries have heard from their community parents yet.
Katie, who's at Northville, mentioned that they're doing a lot of passive programming as guessing and voting games, take home kits. And I think we did story time to go kits, and they were gone in 2 days, which was a great problem to have. So we had make up more kits. This time didn't have the books with them, but
Yeah.
Plymouth
this
has been
time it
doing
had the Hoopla link.
Plymouth is doing a lot of take and makes for both teens and youth. And we had our first outdoor story time at an area park this weekend. It was really well attended.
Cool.
We have been having success with middle school and high school by doing middle school and high school book clubs. And since we're a district library in partnership with the schools, that is a scenario where just one librarian has to go to a classroom, and it is an after school 3 p.m. program. And so the kids have been in the school all day. They're comfortable there. They're wearing their masks, and we just kind of come to them, and it's been really successful.
That's great. You're working with your schools like that too.
Yeah.
They let you come in and
Yeah. Lord knows it's hard to get teens in the library. We'll just go to the.
yes, it is. So what kind of questions, concerns, thoughts does anybody else have? Here's a comment from Patricia at Bloomfield Township that they have parents that have expressed that they want the toys back and in-person programming. And it's hard for her to hear that when she has young family members who are COVID positive from school or activities that they've been exposed to, and her whole family's quarantining right now. So Patricia, first off, good luck to you and your family. I hope all the tests come back negative. Everybody's okay. That's the most important thing. But yeah, just like Jeff mentioned earlier, you have to take into account, oh, not you personally. Well, that's good, but your cousins still, it still goes out to them. But yeah, I mean, it has to have a staff comfort level too. I mean, I wouldn't want to do something I didn't feel was safe at the library. Like we had at Southfield, we have a very large meeting room at 1,600 square feet. So it's, larger than my entire house. And we capped attendance at a program last month at 70, and we filled it up. Which I was surprised. I was both happy and then, like confused that we had that many people come out for, it was a cool concert. So
I'm curious, what is anybody doing? Do other libraries have a mask mandate right now? And if you do, how are you dealing with the question of food and drink at meetings?
well, I'll speak at Southfield. We went back to a mask mandate in October, and knock on my wooden table here, all is going well. We've only had a few complainers. We do not, because we have the mask mandate, We do not serve food or drink at any programs because that encourages taking the mask off. We've actually told our friends group that they are not allowed to sell food or drink, which they traditionally did at our music concerts. They're none too pleased with us, but it just makes sense not to have it. And Katie Rothley from Northville said that they haven't just recommended masks and the covered drinks are fine there. And Patricia said at Bloomfield Township that employees have to mask, but not that patrons don't have to. And Nicole said that employees are masks recommended, but not mandated.
Thanks for the input. Plymouth is not doing any food or drink of our own, but we do have user groups who come in who are bringing that question to us a lot lately. That they want to have their coffee or whatnot at their meeting. So we're navigating that right now.
Yeah, like at Southfield, we have covered drinks are still allowed as they always have been. But we do have the mask mandate. So I mean, if somebody takes it off just to take a sip, they still have to put their mask back on after that.
Okay, well, I have a switching gears question,
Mhm.
if that's okay.
Of course.
Okay, so I actually have an intern. I am super excited because,
Yay.
yeah, I've got no longer a department of one. Yay! Well, at least for another couple of weeks. I'm really gonna miss her. But a couple of things I guess we can talk about if you're willing. She wants me to ask if anybody has done any ads on mobile apps. If you've done that, because she said it could be a way to target non-users in a specific area of our county.
Any
Never
app-
used it, so
Any
it'd be
apps
nice.
specifically?
I guess, yeah, she's working on a marketing plan. She's in her last semester at Wayne State, and that's her big project for us. So she's writing a huge marketing plan for us. And so she's very data driven, which is nice because my position never has been. But she's trying to get information from people to find out if anybody's done it. Have you had success? If not, she won't put it in there, but she wants to have lots of different options for us.
Something we haven't done at Plymouth yet. We've talked about it, we've looked into it a little bit, but we haven't begun yet with boosting posts or with ads.
Okay. Because I'm not 100% sure what she means by ads on mobile apps, like which app she's talking about. Yes.
Katie is saying that she knows that advertising companies around Metro Detroit, some of them offer geo-targeting with zip code specific ads for the
Yeah.
mobile ads and apps. They haven't done it.
Okay.
I know our friends group has done a little bit in Facebook, because I know you can get drilled down super specific there of who you're targeting, but I've never done it with mobile apps. I know sometimes I'll see them on my own phone and be like, I'm not in Cleveland. Why are you doing, why am I getting that one?
Right.
And then sometimes it is for, firms, places nearby, so.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think you might have to lead the way for all of us, Mary, from the looks of the responses.
Well,
We'll be looking forward to an update at a future PR meeting.
well, we'll see how much those things cost and if that's actually doable.
Sounds
The
good. Do you want to wait till after lunch then, Beth, for the tables and?
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, it starts about $1,000. Oh,
Yeah.
yikes.
She just
Okay.
cancel it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
thanks, Katie. Yeah, I'm not, That's quite the budget to try to, dive
Yeah.
into it with. It's $1,000.
Right. That's quite a bit, but hey, you never know. With the housing market doing so well, we might have quite a bit of extra funds. So that would be pretty nice. The other thing is we are being courted by Orange Boy, Savannah. Does anybody use that?
I'm
I
about
would
to
love
start.
to.
I think we're gonna get it. So I'm curious about if anybody's experiences.
Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, so the company is Orange Boy, the software is Savannah. And from what I'm getting, okay, here, I'm going to be completely honest. So when I sat through the sales pitch meeting, I was like, this thing's got to be like $30,000. We're not going to get this. So I only like half listened to her. So we're going to do another one with her now that we're actually interested, but they are a data aggregator, I guess. And from what I'm understanding, they deeply integrate with your ILS. So you will get all sorts of information on one dashboard about your patrons, the people who are actually using library services, which services they're using based on, their checkouts and their card number. What I'm not sure about is we really want to target people who are non-users, because that was actually the point of doing our marketing plan. Is our county, I think we're only at about 46% library card holders, and we find that extremely unacceptable. So we're hoping that Orange Boy can give us some more information about how to target people. One of the things that I thought was really cool is that there's a webinar on their website that you can watch, and it was about new library card holders. So somebody signs up for a library card, and then what do they get from you? They get what? Maybe a little pamphlet or brochure. Maybe they get you sign them up for your e-newsletter once a month or whatever that is, but they've missed all the information and all the spotlights and highlights that you have sent out previously, right? So how are people supposed to know what services you actually have and then start using them? And how do you not just say, oh, here's like a 50-page manual and everything you can get at the library. Here's all the databases. It's too much information. So they suggested that you set up a query in the system. So when you get new library card holders in, you set up 4 emails that go out like every 2 to 3 weeks. And then each email is going to have, just a snippet of information about special services that you definitely want those people to know about. And the cool thing is because you do these queries, that any one person is not going to get the same information twice. So if you send out an email to, let's say, the new card holders, but then you decide, hey, this might be really good for us to send out to everybody else as well, they won't get that email again. So there, I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a huge learning curve because, again, we've never really done a whole lot with data.
I think that's a great idea, because I've been struggling lately with our when people sign up for our email list for the first time, the email that goes to them is underwhelming, and I'm just trying to find time in my workload to move it up the priority list. But for the same reason that, okay, I gave you my information, I signed up, and now the regular emails that are coming are great, but that first email that they receive, I think, really needs to have some punch and some value, and it's not right now. So that's something that Plymouth is looking to do a little better on.
Exactly. And then how do you know who your new card holders are to even send them that email? You'd have to work then with your CERC department. I mean, it's just, there would just be so many different people that you'd have to work with, and then you can just set these emails up to automatically go out to people, and then the system itself will find out when somebody has signed up, and they'll just automatically send them that email. So you write the email once and then you're done. Pricing was not $30,000, at least it wasn't for us. I did ask, there's like a 3-year contract, and they base it on your operating budget. So you get so if somebody's, a $30 million library, you're obviously going to pay probably 30,000. But for us, it definitely was not that. And we thought it was very reasonably priced for what you're going to get.
Thanks for sharing about it, Mary.
Yeah, you and Katie will have to share back later because Katie is doing a meeting and demo with them tomorrow. So if you, and for sure, Mary, you'll have to tell us about it because I know I did a demo with them a year ago, but they were a little pricey out of our range, but
Okay.
it's worth looking into again.
Yeah,
I'm
there
gonna
were, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna meet with them too, so I can keep you posted in the month ahead. I think I'm switching too, so
Nice.
Yay.
where it goes.
You're switching. So what do you use now, Jeff?
We just do MailChimp for newsletters.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that was the other thing that I was, I forgot about that. Yeah, you send all of your emails through them. So we
Right.
can get rid of constant contact.
Yep.
And I'm concerned about, what the interface is going to look like. I mean, you get like the 30-minute demo, but that's not deep diving into what is it actually like to build an email through there. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully they can give you like a 30-day trial to at least try out the emails portion of it, designing the emails.
I don't think they do trials. I think you have to just sign up for it. But after 3 years, if it's not worth it, you just dump it. That's, give it a try. We're marketing
Absolutely.
people. We make it work, right?
That we do. And earlier, Katie had put a question in the chat. I'm going back up to it. If anyone has had any success advertising to their whole community, and if you have an area that's hard to reach with a lot of non-users in the library. I'll say at Southfield, we tried doing something like that this past summer. I don't know if it was successful or not. We also only did it once. We put an insert we have a C&G newspapers, which is a free newspaper that is mailed out to every household in the community. And so we put an insert in there, and it was about $3,500 for them to print and distribute the insert. And I just didn't hear much back. I didn't hear anything negative from people, but I didn't hear, "Ooh, I came in because of that," either. We just got very little feedback from the community on it.
And see, to me, that's part of the struggle is, okay, I've not been data driven, because how do I get the feedback? You would have, how do you make that measurable unless you specifically did, okay, library card sign up month, right? So we're going to advertise, and then we can see how many people came in that month. Otherwise, how do you find the data to find out how well something went? Any kind of marketing campaign. I mean, you can, for me at least, there's not a whole lot of opportunity for me to get information from other departments. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't know how to put that. But okay, so I advertise a program, right? And I can find out how many people came, but did they come because of that ad? Did they come because people were signing them up in the library? Those things bother me, because then I just feel like I'm always just throwing darts in the dark.
Yeah. And Katie asked what we put in the insert. We had one side it was back when we were reopening the building back last summer. So one side was, hey, we're reopening, these are the parameters and hours. And the other side was for summer reading program, advertising that. And well, our summer reading numbers went down, last year, which no huge surprise with COVID going on. So, And then Angela has a question, if, has anyone sent take and makes to the schools to get programming numbers up? And that she said they're in close contact with the local daycares, and they sent teen stress relief stress relief kits to the seniors for midterms this week. Oh, that's a great idea. So has anyone sent take and makes to the schools or daycares or anything?
We've not sent them out because we're trying to get numbers up in-house. So we want people to come to us with foot traffic. So they're very, very, very popular. We always, I'm gonna say sell out, but yeah, no, we haven't. I love it though. And I think it would be really cool to help bump numbers if we were able to send them out with it. I think for us too, it'd probably be like a budgeting thing. You know, we can only do maybe, you know, a couple hundred kits for the entire system. Whereas if we had to send it to schools, we'd probably have to do, you know, several thousand to be able to hit all of the schools and not, you know, have people upset that we did one school and not the other.
Yeah, Nicole's mentioned that they do send theirs out to the local preschools with bi-weekly book bags, and that they are very popular there. And Tracy says, sounds like a great idea. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. You want people, you know, it's what impact do you want? Do you want to get into the community and send it out? Do you want people coming to you? They're both valid trains of thought.
I have a question about, since I'm not a marketing person, I just kind of do, you know, jack of all trades here at Holly. We have a large elderly population that does not have email. So how do you reach, you know, how do you reach that part of the population? I'd appreciate any ideas.
One thing I would suggest is trying to find the contact information for the different organizations that many of those elderly populations work with. So whether it's the retirement homes that some of them live at, finding out if there's a programming coordinator that's there, or historical societies, because if you get the information at least to those people, then it may filter down to those who don't have the email addresses and other contact information that would easily get it to them. So
Now, one of the things we've thought about, it's in the process that we haven't completed yet, is trying to send out just a basic mailer. These are services to the houses of worship in our community. You know, trying to that we might not hit otherwise. So as long as, you know, I know we stay away from religion, but we're going to hit every single house of worship. So we are not caring what denomination or anything like that to try to get it out. So. And Stephanie mentioned that she works for the Braille and Talking Book Library, and they have a high percentage of elderly as well, and that they have audiobooks for people that they advertise that struggle with the standard print. And Jennifer Dye has mentioned that some of the libraries have established phone check-ins with community seniors, starting with the pandemic lockdown, but some have continued because of the great response. And Mary suggests checking with the area agency on aging to see if they will put info about the library in your newsletter. And if you have, you know, try to work with the activity directors of any senior communities or senior or adult daycares that will be in the community. And TD, I see you scribbling this all down. We are recording it, so I'll send out the recording.
Well, yesterday I actually went to the one senior living complex that we have, and they have been without, you know, like activities director for quite a while, but they have a book club that they wanted some advice and assistance, and so I went over there and issued library cards and talked to the book club. But you know, I was reminded, no, I don't, you know, I don't use my email, or I don't have email. So, you know, that's kind of, it just reminded me, since I'm not up at the circulation desk all the time, that, you know, there probably are a lot of people in our system who don't get our e-newsletter. So, which brings me to another question. We use MailChimp for the free version for our newsletter. Is there any way to convert that to a print form without like actually creating, you know, a print version? Does anyone know?
Well, before we start on that question, I want to chime in. The idea that Amy had, she also said to connect with your local community center, but they said they've had luck that they've made announcements for the library before the weekly bingo begins. So that's cool. I haven't used MailChimp in a few years, but as far as I know, they're kind of different mediums that, you know, you could try to print it out, but it's so long and skinny, it doesn't relate well to what relates with print doesn't work on email. What works on email doesn't necessarily relate to print. Unless it was a very short and sweet email, you know, something like just one target, you know, we're just showing this one item or just our hours, something like that. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Well, I was just going to say, we used to do a print version before COVID, and it would usually be, you know, like 2 pages double-sided. And we found that even printing only 20, that we would still have like at least half of them left in the library. But I think that we're not always reaching that older population. So I kind of thought about like creating just a 1-page double-sided, I don't know, maybe sticking it in the books that are on reserve, because I think a lot of that is the older population. I don't know, just a thought, but I appreciate the suggestions.
I've been thinking about how to address, you know, the e-newsletter and the print newsletter, because we have to do both. So I was thinking, because what we do right now is I build it in InDesign, because ours is 6 pages double-sided. And then I have to upload that to our website. And then I use all of that information to build the email that gets sent out. So maybe what you can do is, why don't you make it in print form, right? So build it like you're going to print it. And then you can upload that to your website. And for the email that you send out, you don't have to put everything in there. Maybe just do a couple of highlights of things inside, and then have, you know, like a button that you click, and that goes directly to the print version, the PDF version. So you'll only really have to build it once, and then you build a much shorter email, and then they click on it, and then they have it in a PDF that they can download. Then if you do need to print any out for people, you already have that PDF created that's in print form. So you're kind of doing 2 things, but cutting it down to, you know, cutting the work down.
Okay, that's an idea. Our e-newsletter is actually kind of lengthy, because we do include a lot of like community service type of information in there, which I have heard feedback on, that people do like that. but maybe it's a thought to maybe scale back and move in a different direction, I guess, maybe. But thanks.
Sure. I mean, you can always, in the e-news portion, you can always add, just do your programming as the PDF version, and then all of that community stuff you can add. Or since you're probably not going to print many, if any, out, just make it a longer print version.
So I have another question that is non-marketing. Is anyone else still quarantining their items? We seem to have a kind of a staff issue here. Like we talked about before about masking, that, you have to pay attention to what your staff, how your staff feels, but it seems that we have maybe one or two staff members who are reluctant to not quarantine our items. And I just kind of feel like, isn't it time to stop? I mean, we're a small library, so we don't have a ton of items sitting around, but sometimes where they're placed for that quarantine of, 1 or 2 or 3 days, whatever we're at right now, I think we're at least 2 days. It's kind of, one, it's a little bit unsightly having just, piles of books sitting out, waiting kind of thing. Just my personal opinion, but I just wondered how other people felt.
Well, there is, going to the chat and reading that, Mary had a great suggestion of the connecting with the seniors, is connect with your local Meals on Wheels group. And that plays into the comment that Katie made that, seniors, not all seniors are as mobile. And that Amy said they are no longer quarantining their items, but they are wiping them down. Angela said they've stopped quarantining, but bring in items to clean at night and then shelve them in the morning, and they wear gloves to handle them. Patricia named a couple different libraries: Bloomfield Township, West Bloomfield, Clarkston, and Independence are not quarantining, nor is South Lyon, Orion, RTD Dell. I know Southfield stopped. I think there's a TLN list. I think it's TLN that puts out a list of what libraries are doing if you're open full hours. And I think quarantining was one of the questions on there. So you could maybe see. If
I've looked at it, and my opinion is that the majority of libraries are either only doing it overnight or they're not doing it at all. But like I said, it's we're small and we're not in TLN. So unfortunately I came from TLN libraries. I miss TLN, but anyway, so just curious, I mean, I feel like just saying, do you wipe down your mail? Do you quarantine your mail? Do you wipe down your groceries? And if you don't, then what's the big deal about the items that are returned to the library? But anyway, thanks.
I'd say maybe try to offer alternative, do you maybe wearing gloves when handling material or things like that.
Didn't the science come out on that? Didn't MLA repost quite a while ago? Because we stopped quarantining when there was a certain study that came out saying that, I think that it really does. It's so minimal, if anything. Just wash your hands after you touch it, pretty much, or just sanitize. So we haven't quarantined for a very long time.
Right, and I agree. I mean, I think that the science is there, but like I said, we just have, and we're a small staff. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, either wear the gloves, wash your hands. It's what you should be doing anyway. And, do you go to the store? Yes. If you go to the store and you're touching things and buying things, then, I don't know. I think that there's other things that you should be a little bit more worried about than, whether there's contaminants. I think that there is a study that still says from the realm that there still is some evidence that it can be found on the items, but that it's highly unlikely that it is contagious, to you, unless like, you actually touched a wet spot on a book and then, licked your fingers or, breathed it in or whatever it is. So something like that. But thanks.
And Angela put in the comments that it's not bad to clean them, it's also flu season starting up and the items are sitting in a patron's home for a long time before being returned. It's a little different than the mail or the groceries that aren't at your home. Anyone else have any thoughts, questions, concerns for the group?
How's everybody hanging in there? Do we feel traumatized still? Are we still traumatized, or are we starting to recoup? I mean, I know I'm definitely not the same person I was 2 years ago. I mean, you generally aren't anyway, but you know what I mean.
I think I've stopped thinking things are going to return to the old normal for sure.
I have no idea what to expect because if we're talking from March onward, I have existed in this position as the library's marketing coordinator only in pandemic world. I don't know what I'll do with myself when things feel normal, if they ever do. So I've only ever known how to operate under these conditions of being a highly anxious.
Well, Jeff,
Yeah.
I have full faith in you. You are one
Oh,
of
I
the
know.
innovative people, so.
I know. But I don't know what's going on at everyone else's library, but we've got some new staff coming in. We're going to do some renovations. We're going to put a new sign up. We have these kind of refreshing, exciting things coming. So that's kind of helping me. I'm channeling into that, and that's going to be fun to promote. We're going to get some updates in the building. So just focusing on the positive or whatever's positive in the future.
And we have people in the chat saying stressed about COVID. Katie mentions she sometimes feels like she's not doing enough. Now, I know Katie well, having worked with her a number of years. Katie, you are an overachiever. You do more than anyone else I know. So I'll say that to you publicly. I know I've said that to you privately too, so.
But I think that goes with the, we've lived through a collective trauma, and that's hypervigilance, and that becomes very that's high burnout, where you just feel like, I guess for me, I've pulled back quite a bit, and I think that some of this has helped me to put up some more internal boundaries. Like I was hypervigilant before COVID, and then I went through severe burnout. And now I feel like I haven't quite fully recovered from it, but I'm not, for the most part, I don't feel like if something doesn't get done, I'm much quicker to say, oh, well, you know, I'm only one person. Whereas before I would have, you know, had panic attacks and all this kind of stuff, trying to make sure that, oh, what are they going to think? And am I going to get in trouble if I don't, well, if I don't get it done, I don't get it done. Then they change your expectations. You know, I've become, I think, a little bit more realistic. So, you know, but it's been hard. It's been really hard, and we're not quite through it yet. At least I think for marketing people, especially, you know, we're still going to be dealing with whim and, you know, people's opinions and all that kind of stuff. Everything's getting so much stronger that, you know, I think we
I
just
think
need
there's
to,
difficulty in that, not knowing that it's all forward. You know, if we knew for sure that we would continue moving forward toward a better day, that would provide some hope and reassurance. But because the way this pandemic operates, that, you know, you could be moving forward in upwards direction, then all of a sudden get a smackdown to have to close the shop, or, you know, step back again, and just, you know, based on watching the numbers and whatnot. So that's a little bit hard, that you can't just, you know, set your eyes on the prize and know that you can continue moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's truly is the day-to-day. I like to tell myself, and you know, I have the days I'm very productive and I feel great. The days where, you know, I haven't quite earned that paycheck as well as I'd like. But nothing we do is life or death. We all try our best. And Katie has it right that the uncertainty is horrible. And Heather has mentioned that she ends up, you know, becoming really comfortable in day by day in uncertainty, and that's great. And then, but then also puts things off, or, you know, knows what is trying to prioritize, knows what she has time for, what she doesn't. So Patricia mentioned that as they employ over 100 people, you know, they're trying to figure out if the MIOSHA and OSHA standards of vaccination go through. They have some employees who are not getting vaccinated, and how to prepare for that change of, you know, they wouldn't be employed there, or whatever the parameters are of that. So, and Amy mentions that it's, you know, still having hit or miss attendance at the programs can be frustrated. I agree with Amy's second sentence. Try to celebrate those small successes. And Katie's, I think many of us do this, Katie, like make those lists and have fun crossing things off on them, even if it's just a tiny thing. Like, I did something.
Absolutely. Celebrate every success. It's certainly a gauntlet. If there is any normality on the other side of it, we're all going to be stronger for it, getting through it. We're all going to be super marketers.
That we will be. And I think there will be a new normal. I hate that term, new normal, but there will be a normal. It won't be back what it was. It's got to be something different. We've all gone through that, as Mary mentioned, the collective trauma. So you can't go through that and be the same as you were. As a community, as marketers, as individuals, you know.
I think part of this is, part of the stress of this time is also that the old rules don't necessarily apply. That, you know, it used to be that you knew what kind of campaigns were successful, you knew what kind of messaging could help make a change, and these days, you know, who comes to programs, who tunes in for online things, who responds, is affected by so many factors that are outside our control, maybe in ways even more than they used to be, that the predictability and that control is gone a little bit. So there's an adjusting to that, I think.
Very true.
Because, you know, people are making decisions about their own personal health, or it could be, you know, that people have just found new ways to access materials that, you know, their patterns may have changed and stayed changed because they learned something new. They learned new technology, what have you. So I think, you know, it's just going to take quite some time for us to flush out what's here to stay and what will come back around. And
Yep, I concur. And I think that brings us to a good place to wrap up the meeting for this month. I'm excited to announce that in December, we're going to have Lauren Warren Gross is going to be our guest speaker. She's going to talk to us about Mel and what Mel's up to and how, because we all have access to Mel. Mel is such a wonderful program and underutilized by everybody. So she's going to tell us some things I'm sure that even we don't know about Mel. So
Yay, thanks, Laura.
anyone have any last parting thoughts before we end the meeting for the day?
Thanks for bringing us together, Kelly.
Oh, of course. Thank you. It's always, it's heartening to know we all go through the same struggles. You know, there is no magic bullet in this. We're all struggling through it together. So if we can learn from each other's, successes, learn from each other's mistakes, it's great. So thank you everybody for joining in today.
Thank you.